Welcome back, audience. Hope you're doing good, as always. And in this video, I want to talk about logos and eros and its work. That is the most important work ever done or ever will be. And why is it important, and how it directly changes the timeline of your reality, or if you will, the coherence level of the planet. So I want to talk about this interaction between how these energies work. So there's sort of a little bit of like a maybe insight. This is what I observed, by the way. So maybe, I don't know, it can help you to see that by yourself the same way, through direct experience of what's really going on. And it's verifiable. I mean, you can treat this reality as an experiment and see how it all works. You can totally do that. But the very premise of this thing being here in this virtual reality video game and whatnot is we are in a certain setting of the game, and this setting right now, it seems to be 50% coherent, 50% incoherent. So it's the natural coherence of the planet, and it's regulated by the distance of the planet, which is the entire solar system, to the galactic center. And the closer it moves to the galactic center, the more coherent everything gets. The more further away it moves, the more incoherent everything gets. And it does this around the galaxy move for 200 million years, whatnot. And if you're interested in that, check it out. It's like a clockwork of universe. It has a clock. It has a space and time. Okay, it has all potential pasts, all the potential futures. It contains everything, but it is running right now on 50-50 mode. So what does that mean? It means that the energy, the feeling that every day you receive will depend on that. And because the planet is at 50% incoherence, 50% of energy is going to be entering you. It's not going to be clean energy. It's going to be an energy that is trying to create negative emotions, negative thoughts, and negative experiences in the world of sensations. That's the energy that wants to come out. But if you're alchemizing it through alchemy and devotion, through courage and surrender, which is just the use of the faculty of your attention, the soul attention, and it's just like a playing, it is in a way resolving a problem, but it's like sort of a quantum problem, that problem can only be resolved through logos and eros interacting together. And that problem seemed to be like something that like the opposite of cosmos, which is like a discosmos, and the opposite of chaos, which is this chaos. Because chaos is not bad, it can be good and it can be bad. Order as well, it can be good order, this harmonic order of logos, or this distorted order of logics. Because logics can never resolve this problem. If you try to resolve the problem with logics, you create belief system, and that's the tree of knowledge, way of life, matrix life. We've been through that. But to go into the tree of life way, living this life, it's of course the opposite direction, and it's a use of logos, not logics, to resolve the negative feeling inside of you. Okay, so this is how it all works. Negative feeling comes inside you for no one's fault whatsoever. And some people can do alchemy and devotion, and at the source level alchemize everything, and whatever is coming out had an intention to come out as bad, came out as good. Sense with that crystal of your soul that it's transmuting that energy into the good. So the bad naturally try to enter the system, but because of your soul, good entered the system. Okay, coherence, because incoherence tried to enter the system, but you converted that incoherence to the coherence, and that was through the play of logos and eros. And the eros and logos together, they can handle any of this bad energy. Okay, because when the disorder comes along, or that this cosmos, which is like a disorderly cosmos, disorderly universe, if you will, you need to use eros to erode all of that disorder, and that's like a coal in alchemy, right? Or lead in alchemy. It comes to you as lead, then, and that's negative feeling, and then, or manure or coal, whatever you want to call it, right? But that dark energy, dirty energy comes along. That type of energy does not give energy, it takes energy. That's like what this chaos is all about. That corrupt feminine, it does not provide energy, it takes energy. Okay, and that corrupt masculine is using that energy that she stole to create a disorder. Okay, so this is like, that's how it works in a dark consciousness, and they are in cahoots. And every time there is a dark masculine, you're going to find dark feminine. Every time, it's just because they go together, and their connection is based on lust and hate, and so that's a dark type of connection. Okay, so that's the way they interact. And of course, you can probably see that in everyday life. I mean, it's obvious. How many couples are actually hate each other but together because they have to survive. That's just the reality. This is what happens when dark energy is let loose like that. But if a person is capable of meeting at the source level, transmuting it before it enters reality, what happens, that particular soul is contributing to the coherence level of entire planet that is not naturally there. The settings of the game is such that this planet is running right now at 50% level of coherence, so it provides 50% challenge for the soul, and that's Dvapara Yuga, they call it, right? And then there's Kali Yuga, where it's even darker, and it's about like 75% darkness, right? So that's like the most difficult time for alchemy is Kali Yuga right now. It's sort of because it's most like a difficulty of the game. Right now we're playing a medium difficulty of the game. Actually, it's not the hardest level. This is a medium difficulty. So for those souls who came here to play that role and transmute that energy into good energy before it enters this planet, it's a real deal. These are the alchemists, and these are the people who are alchemists basically, and it's usually a couple's work. It is not done like it cannot be done in a selfish way. It's only in a perfect harmony between logos and eros this happens. So anyway, so the first stage in alchemy is that negredo, and that's eroding, when the eros is eroding that structure back into chaos. And then you take that chaos, and then through logos you organize it into cosmos, and that's the harmonious order, from the dark order to the light order, right? And this is the process. This is how you beat the evil. This is how you beat the evil. You see, this is a real spiritual war, and it is about that, almost like decoding that negative feeling that is there, because you have to like find the perfect type of focus there, and you're playing with it, and it's a type of game. And it's almost like if you let the balance between your logos and eros, which is your attention and awareness, kind of have no gap, then if there's no gap, there's this perfect touch of these primordial energies, and it feels really good. Okay, and it's never ending. And so that is the highest point of investment of your attention, guys. And I know that like I probably have like between 20 and 50 people who really are doing this stuff, right? my videos are usually it's just about that stuff. So who else would be interested? Because if somebody is trying to be in a belief system, this is an invitation to destroy it. So they're not going to be part of this, right? But those who are ready, they're here. And so it may seem like, oh my God, this is like, there's no way I could have that much influence on the entire planet. But only alchemists do have that much influence on the entire planet. And you lately saw the movement towards reduction of corruption, you know. And so we already have a movement, which is all we need to ask for, towards more coherence and less incoherence. And so the more we move towards that, we're good. And as long as we're moving towards it, because moving towards it, it is living at the edge of life, as I call it. It is really being in the source of your feelings, where this ultimate peace and ultimate bliss stem from. Like you're just living there. And that's when the logos and eros are together. You see? They're not longing for each other, they're not missing each other, they're together. And so every time something separates them, logos and eros always goes to work to dissolve anything that separates them, so they can be together again. And so this is how we play this game. Okay? And when you become this stable soul that is capable of transmuting all the negative energy that's coming your way, and it all just turns into positive automatically, I think then you can kind of begin playing the game of life for success, which is just like a soul trying to create and play. That's all. Then you can kind of begin to create and play. And the reason I'm saying that without alchemy, that's not going to happen. Without that stable energy, it's not going to happen. Without that holy grail, without that philosopher's stone, it's not going to happen. Okay? So you got to live there. And everything in the way of that, face it, surrender it to it. This is my direct experience, you know, like, and you could also see it to be the case. If you start living this way, life is always about that thing that was always, it's meant to be negative, but now it became positive. And only it's because you gave it attention, because it's always been asking your attention. So that's the real, you know, if you're a man, through courage, you can connect with the real feminine. This is the real feminine. Okay? And only women with that level of real feminine will be able just to even be around you. But you don't even need it, because the energy is around you. Somehow, some way, it's just going to happen externally, but it may be a lag, because right now we're in a wartime, you know. But even if you're in a wartime, can still be connected at that level and value that first, everything else will be all right. This is like what I've realized to be like, this is probably the most important realization that I've had. And also the second most important is the feedback of the results, because, you know, none of those things that I'm saying is worth anything unless there's actual results in a real life, meaning physical life, right? And the things that are physically happening, it has that magic imbued in it as well. So, you know, it's kind of real, because you can get that form of life, you know, can give a car and house and whatnot, but or a wife, it may look all good, but It just doesn't have the magic, it doesn't have the spark, right? That's not talking about the success. I'm talking about the real success. There is such thing as real success. So, okay, so that's the story of love. That basically two lovers entered the reality, this game, and said basically, we're gonna challenge our love for each other, basically. And they did. And so one or the other went into the dark side, or both actually, and became enemies. They became enemies. Those original lovers, they became enemies. But the love story is that moving towards the being friends, not enemies. It is the move, right? Yeah, that would be the move for me. Doesn't mean that there's no opponents. Okay. Hmm. So there, I mean, this is the closest thing to what's going on that I observed to be the case. And I think before it was also attempted to do this coherence in the entire planet through the pharaohs, which are like alchemists and pyramids, and it's been tried to do it before. But now I think there's not going to be like pyramids, or perhaps there are going to be some devices that amplify that orgone energy, but it's just going to be people um, who are alchemizing these energies, right? I don't think that they're going to be even that much visible. Um, and these are the people who don't really have enemies, you see? Because you are against the entire thing. So you're not even playing the game. So energetically, you're out of the game of Matrix, right? This is why, after trying a few times, they just give up and that's it. And so, no enemies. And because you don't even don't play that game anymore energetically, the people that don't have good intentions with you, they're not going to be around in your field. Or if somebody who tries to have like some bad intention, or like they not playing the game right and don't do their homework, then you feel that energy immediately, and you can alchemize for them or can show them and saying, look, your wiener is showing. You gotta take care of this, zip it up, bro, you know. Anyway, so it's like that, you know. And by the way, some people, um when they point this out, they get it immediately, you know. And some people, they don't, because they're still like functioning in the mind level and thoughts level. So when you ask to find the feeling, they can't find it because they're still in the thinking. And this is what I saw it happen. Their step is only to go into the emotions. They have not gone through the emotions yet. Okay. And only in this emotion, through these emotions, then you can get to the feeling. So it seems that a person need to make the journey from the mind, from like a body mind, to the mind to the soul. That's what it seemed like. it's not a lot to flip your attention. That's all. It's just like to start looking the other way. Really, that's what it's all about. Start looking the other way, and everything falls into awesomeness. Okay, and nobody can help it because this is leaning very heavily in that ideal timeline. Okay, and it may seem that okay, um, global events are changing and stuff like that, and you may not see that your dream is coming true yet, and that's okay because it's not meant to. You the foundation must be set first, and this is like you getting so stable in alchemizing that energy that it's you're not moved from it anymore by any of the challenges anymore. You're basically the one ring that rules them all level kind of thing, right? And that's it. Then you've done your homework, and that's going to be inviting everybody else to do theirs. You see, um, and that's how we little by little through the efforts of the soul, we improve the coherence in this video game, which is the whole point of the video game, is to improve the coherence um, of the system. If it's improving, then we're evolving, and if it's decreasing, then we're devolving. Hello. Sorry. All right. Sorry to be moving your face like this up and down without asking. It's very rude of me. I'm shaking you like that. Okay. Let's focus back. Oh man. So there. That's my little story for today. What else I can add? Logos and Eros. First you have to do the job. But instead of logos and Eros, in the matrix what's happening, logics and erotics is handling these energies. See, this is why there's like a pleasure based, which is kind of erotics, and then competition and conflict based, which is logics, right? And everything's created by logics, and erotics is ads, bro. Not even in a good way. It's the ugly ass way, and which is the most negative thing in the universe, I think. If the good ass is the most positive thing in the universe, then the ugly ass is the most negative thing in the universe. According to my calculations. Okay, so there. I feel like you want to know something about. Well, yeah. Imagination does play a role and starts becoming important. The world of magics and fantasia, as they call it, because I don't have any other word. There's logos, magics, logics. That's the masculine control centers, and then the feminine would be talk to me. Eros, fantasia, and erotics. Okay, so yeah, not to skip this middle step, which is magics and fantasia, which is masculine and feminine capacity to create images and live those images as vividly as possible, right? Like, which would be like a lucid dream. And even, by the way, you can lucid dream without actually your body sleeping. Really, it is possible. It's just like, it's possible. I had glimpses of those where I was just like not really asleep at all, and I had like this like a vivid vision going on. I'm not participating. It's almost like a screen type of action. Um, and you see the astral thing at the same time. But I had glimpses like that. But so I'm saying this is possible. And your imagination, which is basically that's like a really super duper imagination at, at that level. Okay. So yeah, so magic has become very important, but only after you like your golden throne is stable, where your logos and eros is in a perfect balance, and any kind of thing that comes online that separates them are immediately resolved. Okay, and they're becoming so good at resolving the problems between them that it's piece of cake. Then it just becomes like a game. Like so awesome because like there's such a realization about consciousness of how to even play this game. You're getting to the point where you are like, oh, that's how we play it. It's just like a realization really of, fuck, this is how I begin to play life. And you start with making love, actually. Crazy, huh? Which has nothing to do with sex at this point. Okay. And yeah, and that should keep things simple, you know? That should keep things super, super simple. There's to me, there's no need for better explanation of this direct experience, really, um, than this as like for the most basic. Like if you know that this is it, then that's it. You're good. You're good. Like seriously, you're good. Like you can be trusted because you're already figuring out of how to play it at the source level. And yeah, and the world of magic is astral world, like, and it has structures too, by the way, right? And it, if you are creating from that awesome feeling, peaceful, blissful feeling, and you're creating something from that, then that's there, right? You can visit that place. It's there. You see, it's so cool. And if you go there and things are sort of like out of whack, then you fix it up with your imagination. You create the space, the life that you want, right? It's like your garden of Eden that you're building in your mind, and that hopefully is going to bleed into the physical reality. Not hopefully, but it will. Some form of garden. You're gonna end up in a garden, just like I ended up in a garden. I live in a garden essentially. You know? Yeah. But fighting every day. Okay? You wouldn't think that the biggest battles are done in the garden. But to me, they definitely are. Right? You know. You know everything already. Oh, that was a nice click. Bisous. Anything else you want to know? Like, we have like maybe 10 minutes. Just let me know what you want. Yeah, and this is what you see going on right now. The reduction of corruption is going on, and as long as we're on a trajectory of evolving, we're good. We're good. That's all that it takes. It's not about trying to get there. because that's the whole point. But now that you know how to play it, it's fun, it's good, it's nice, you know. So I'm definitely saying that you can figure out life. I think this is why we came first, just to figure out life and then play it. And you know, like, a lot of things were kind of unfair to play in. So if you try to run a business in a system that is just like not really conducive to for the businesses, but they're not protected, or you know, whatever happens, right? And so then it's not interesting to play. It's like, fuck, this is bullshit. Like, no, 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 no. Like, I want to find something that is interesting to play, where it's fair and just, you know. It's like, this is the same way you don't want to play a Monopoly game and then somebody comes in and just fucking takes all your wealth, you know, and it's gone, and you're like, get the fuck out of here. Like, put all the time and energy and this shit. Nah. So of course not. So that's how I probably ended up in the jungle, because I didn't like the entire system. So how forget about playing the game in that system. I wanted another system where the games are played and fun and they're creative and playful. I wanted the entire new system for my birthday and for the Christmas. That's what I asked of Santa, by the way. I said, Santa, get me the hell out of the Matrix. There's gotta be a better way to live this life. And Santa says, actually, there is. Oh, that's a goofy ass Disney Santa voice. But all sorts of Santas exist, so don't complain to me. Yeah, weird things happening in jungle as always. Like, I'm used to this stuff. So, right. This is why the world is sort of seems flickering, you know, like, the ego is kind of trying to double down, you know, and panicking in the hopes of trying to sustain this Babylonian way of life, but it's not working anymore. It's not, the pleasure is not worth the pain anymore. Right? I think that's the key point. When the pleasure is no longer worth the pain, then the person is gonna say, all right, this is not worth it, and make a conclusion, I suppose, right? And this is what happens the more you enter more of that coherent energy through the alchemy into the ether, into the entire planet, and possibly entire ether. I think so. It's not just the planet, it's everything. The entire ether improves. And the more you do that, the more ego automatically shrinks. You don't need to do anything else. Like, yes, you need to still have like some boundaries outside, and if somebody betray you, you know, you have to give consequences, any consequences that are necessary for them to have feedback. As minimum, they're not supposed to have access to your energy or your domain, you know. Because if you live in a good energy and you're alchemizing every day and super dope, then that's enough to say that, like, nah, man, you're not hanging out with me no more. Not with that ugly ass bullshit. But you also need to alchemize that bullshit. Then you can say that for it to be even real. But people should be able to get back to your space, given two conditions: reparations for any damage they made, and genuine apology with letting go of their ego and coming up as transparent and translucid soul that they are. Then you're welcome back into your domain. And that is fair and just Okay? Because anybody who is willing to let go of their ego, even admit that they made a mistake, fix the mistake, and then let go of the ego so they could continue playing the game with you, okay, definitely definitely deserves to plug back into this vibe, right? Of course, of course. But you're not making any kind of loopholes anymore for them. It's very simple. Make up for what you've damaged, and genuine apology was letting go of their ego, which you can feel it in your soul because they're coming through a different channel to you. Because sometimes if somebody comes in and still try to fuck with your mind, but they're not really entered through the channel of the heart, and so you feel this thing that is off within your system, then you know that they're not coming genuinely at that point. Okay, there's supposed to be a certain type of openness that is there to be able to enter and synchronize with that energy. Dude, it's all like that. Like life is all like that. It's that we live in energy first, right? It's happening, there's communication is going on, but sometimes we just don't look at. And I lately tend to do look, and it's not about this ego things. It's not, you're not reading their like personalities or anything like that. You're just directly reading the energy, so you don't really need to get lost in psychologizing nonsense or philosophizing. You go directly into the energy and you see everything, and that level of energy, it's everything's clear. Like, hey, um, it's like, hey, do you want me to take care of this shit that you're carrying? And if they say yeah, and just give it to you, then you take care of that shit, and they let go of their ego. You see. But if they continue and they refuse to let that go, then energetically they're not welcome into your field. Okay. And so it's a type of devotion where you just surrender your ego to somebody that can burn it up. It's just like the Eros and Logos game once again, right? Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Now what? We play the game. That's what. The way it's meant to be played. I'm saying. Tickle fight, for example. That's one of the games. The one that beats their pants loses. I always lose. No, I'm lying. I always win. Anyway, without going way too off into the woods, that, let's just say, slightly unholy woods. That's right. I'm spanking ass right now. All right. I'm losing my mind. I think that's it. You can tell that the clown mode is initiated. So, oh, yeah, that's the game. I'm certain of it. Wow. Yeah. And the practice is to be able to stay in that field of energy in front of anyone possibly in your life, right? This is like the job. And some people are going to enter that energy, and some people are just going not to be let in into that energy unless they wipe their shoes first, so to speak, right? Because when you live in this domain, people the exchange is like this. It's like you got to people who sold their souls, now they need to sell their egos. To enter this domain, you have to let go of your ego, which means that, but don't worry, if you let go of that ego, someone's going to alchemize it and you're just going to be good. You only need to do that, right? You won't need to be an alchemist. You just surrender your ego, and somebody's going to alchemize that. Don't worry about that crap. We're going to turn that crap into gold. But then you're going to be free of the crap and now belonging to that domain, right? And that's basically a person who's playing their level of game in that domain, that real freaking kingdom. So there's going to be this domain, and you just like in Hollywood, for example, if you wanted to have success there, you would have to sell your soul, right? This world, this organization, this domain is the opposite. If you want to belong to the cool kids club, you gotta sell your ego, and then you are allowed to enter. There you go. And then it makes sure that everybody's going to have a good time. You see? And it's very fair. It's very fair. It cannot be anything more than fair. This is how it works. Nothing else works. This is how it meant to work. So this is how you can how you handle everything. You alchemize those energies before they even have a chance becoming negative feelings. They're already positive. That's the first thing, right? And then how do you remain in that, dealing with all sorts of other people? You keep on alchemizing, and you keep on setting those um, conditions and those boundaries, but they're all like energetic. And it happens sort of automatically. It's like it's not even opinion of the mind. If somebody comes in your field, you already know what the soul is doing. If the soul is saying like, here, alchemize this ego, all right. But if it's just hiding in trying to not to be there, you keep on shining light on it, which is again, it's just like the same alchemical process, but during the interaction with somebody. And if they have to go, disappear, then okay, so then they don't then really want it to surrender their ego, right? And you see that's behavior. Yeah, it does seem like it works. I don't think it's something that superior or anything like that. Like, fuck, if you play this type of game, you slay demons every day, you freaking it's gotta be worth something. And that's what it's worth. It's worth good friendships, genuine authentic relationships, and awesome tribe overall that's real, that's not based on the belief or anything like that. And it's all due to that coherence energy. That is a dance between logos and eros. And that dance between logos and eros is supposed to be throughout every single person that belongs to this domain. It's like they kindling and tendering the fire between them. That's the whole point of every relationship between a man and a woman, is to keep tendering that fire. Tendering the fire? Tendering? Nah. Tendering is like a swear word right now. It's like the same thing as porn. Maybe even the worst. Which is evil. It's evil, I tell you. I don't know what just happened. Alright. Okay, so what you talking about? Tell me. Right, so this kindling the fire between two people. That's the most important thing is in life. And like to have a partner who is in tune with that energy, and that you're in this dance, and everything's between you must be like sort of always burned up. Dude, that's how it's supposed to look like. This is the only thing that I would even be considering to participate in relationships, because I know all the other ones would not work, because I need a woman who is genuinely devotional, just like I'm genuinely an alchemist. Right? Of course. Trust me, no other relationship is worth the candle. It's just not worth it. Because if you have a person like who's not playing this game, and okay, while you're there, you're alchemizing, everything's great, but then like you don't see that person for a couple of days, whatever, and all this gossip enters their mind, and they're already hallucinating completely different reality, and then they come back swinging at you out of nowhere. So you know what happened. So you can't trust them because they did not remain connected to you, which requires surrender and devotion. And that's the only ingredient that I was looking in all my previous relationship. I was looking for devotion, because if I'm an alchemist, there has to be a devotion. And if there's no devotion, I can feel it, you're not coming from your heart. And I don't want to play those games anymore. So there. That's the only channel to reach me. That's where I live now. This is where I moved. Okay, I moved. This is where I live now. Right? Of course, you know what I'm saying. For other people, perhaps this is not as important. Meaning, like if they're not alchemist, then if as long as they belong to the domain of alchemists, they're going to be protected. They can play their level games, and the alchemist is going to take care of it, right? And so there are suns and there are planets, and so it's okay. Get the fuck out of here, man. What the fuck are you doing here? So there's suns and there are planets, right? But if you're that type of soul, you need somebody like you. You need somebody from the same tribe, from the same caste. Only that will work. Nothing else less will. You meet on another channel. I can tell you that. And none of these matrix games matters anymore, because you're playing the only game that matters, and that is burning up any separation between you. And that's the proof of love. That's what it means to fight for love. It's all in your heart. Okay, peeps. I'm gonna go eat something now. But yeah, keep playing this game. And awesome stuff are happening. They're gonna keep on happening. Well, we are in a little war right now, but you know what can you do? As long as we're fighting a good fight, everything's gonna be all right with alchemy, magic, and might. Peace, and I'll see you in the next one.